The United States just authorized a weapon so devastating, it can vaporize an entire cartel compound in seconds. What happens when a thermobaric vacuum bomb hits a fortified drug lab hidden deep underground? And how does a single explosion create a pressure wave so intense it turns human lungs inside out while leaving buildings as nothing but dust? Join us as we reveal the brutal physics and terrifying power of the weapon that's about to change the cartel war forever. Section 1. The weapon that breathes fire. Thermobaric weapons, commonly called vacuum bombs, represent some of the most terrifying explosives ever developed. Unlike conventional bombs that carry both fuel and oxidizer, vacuum bombs use a two-stage detonation process that makes them exponentially more deadly. The first charge disperses a cloud of explosive material into the air. A split second later, a second charge ignites this cloud, creating an explosion that consumes all available oxygen in the blast radius. The physics behind this weapon are brutal. When the explosive cloud ignites, it generates temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt steel instantly. The blast wave travels outward at supersonic speeds, creating massive overpressure that crushes everything in its path. But the most lethal effect comes after the initial blast. As the explosion consumes oxygen, it creates a vacuum that literally sucks the air from victims' lungs, rupturing internal organs even if they're protected by walls or bunkers. The destructive power scales dramatically with size. Handheld thermobaric grenades can clear rooms and bunkers. Larger aerial bombs can obliterate entire compounds. Russia's father of all bombs delivers explosive force equivalent to 44 tons of TNT, creating a fireball visible for miles and a shockwave that can level concrete structures within a 300-meter radius. The development of thermobaric weapons traces back to World War I when German forces created incendiary shells called brand granite. These shells contained tar-soaked tissue and gunpowder dust that produced intense flames lasting approximately 2 minutes. The concept evolved slowly through World War II, but practical weapons remained elusive. The breakthrough came during the Vietnam War. In 1971, the United States deployed the CBU-55, the first operational thermobaric bomb. Early tests involved a 37 Dragonfly and a 1 Skyraider aircraft from the 604th Special Operations Squadron. The weapon used 3 propane canisters descending under small parachutes, creating a dispersed fuel cloud before ignition. Despite concerns, one CBU-55 saw combat use in a desperate situation. On April 21, 1975, as South Vietnam collapsed, a C-130 transport deployed a CBU-55 from 20,000 feet. The resulting explosion engulfed approximately 4 acres. Approximately 250 enemy soldiers perished, primarily from rapid oxygen depletion rather than direct burns. Witnesses described victims found with no visible external injuries but completely destroyed internal organs. Their lungs collapsed from the vacuum effect. Following Vietnam, next-generation thermobaric weapons, including improved CBU-55 variants and the CBU-72, were incorporated into the United States military arsenal. These weapons saw deployment during Operation Desert Storm in Iraq, demonstrating their effectiveness against fortified positions. The hunt for Osama bin Laden spurred development of the BLU-118B thermobaric bomb, specifically engineered to penetrate and destroy cave networks. On March 2, 2002, an F-15E Strike Eagle from the 335th Fighter Squadron carried the first operational BLU-118B on a mission near Afghanistan. The weapon was designed to enter tunnel complexes and detonate inside, the thermobaric blast propagating through connected passages to kill everyone within. Section 2. Why cartels can't hide anymore. Mexican drug cartels have spent decades perfecting concealment. They build labs in dense jungles where satellite surveillance struggles to penetrate thick canopy. They construct fortified compounds with reinforced concrete walls 3 feet thick. They dig elaborate tunnel networks connecting buildings underground, allowing rapid escape when raids occur. None of that matters against thermobaric weapons. When a thermobaric weapon detonates above or near a target, the explosive cloud doesn't just hit the surface. It flows into every opening, every ventilation shaft, every tunnel entrance. The subsequent ignition creates overpressure that propagates through connected spaces, following air passages throughout the structure. Underground facilities offer no protection. Traditional bunker-busting bombs rely on kinetic energy to penetrate before exploding. Thermobaric weapons don't need to penetrate. They find openings and fill connected spaces with explosive vapor. When ignition occurs, the pressure wave travels through tunnels faster than anyone can escape, killing everyone inside regardless of depth. The thermal effects are equally devastating. Temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees Celsius instantly ignite everything flammable. Drug labs contain enormous quantities of volatile chemicals used in cocaine and fentanyl production. When thermobaric weapons detonate near these facilities, the initial explosion triggers secondary detonations as chemical supplies ignite. Concrete walls provide no meaningful defense. While conventional explosives damage structures through shrapnel and direct blast effects, thermobaric weapons generate sustained overpressure that collapses structures from the inside out. The pressure wave penetrates any space containing air, creating forces that exceed the structural capacity of reinforced concrete. Buildings don't just get damaged, they implode. The psychological impact on cartel forces is immense. Conventional airstrikes give defenders some warning. They hear aircraft approaching, see missiles incoming, have seconds to take cover. Thermobaric strikes offer none of that. A B-2 stealth bomber arrives undetected, releases its payload, and disappears. The first indication of attack is the explosive cloud forming overhead. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, the second detonation occurs and everyone within the blast radius is already dead. Intelligence reports indicate increased paranoia among senior cartel commanders who previously felt secure in fortified compounds. They're moving locations frequently, avoiding large gatherings, and limiting time spent in fixed facilities. But constant movement makes coordination difficult. When leadership can't safely gather to plan operations, organizational effectiveness suffers dramatically. Section 3. The B-2 delivers destruction. The B-2 Spirit stealth bomber is the perfect delivery platform for thermobaric strikes against cartel targets. Designed to penetrate the most sophisticated air defense systems ever built, it operates with near impunity over Mexico. The aircraft's radar cross-section is approximately 0.1 square meters, about the size of a large bird. Even advanced military radars struggle to detect it. Cartel surveillance systems have no chance. The B-2's unique design scatters radar waves away from their source rather than reflecting them back. Its flying wing configuration eliminates vertical surfaces that create strong radar returns. Special radar-absorbent materials coating the aircraft's skin absorb electromagnetic radiation across multiple frequency bands. Each B-2 can carry 40,000 pounds of ordnance in 2 internal bomb bays. For cartel strikes, this payload would likely include multiple thermobaric weapons along with precision-guided munitions. The aircraft's sophisticated targeting systems combine satellite guidance, terrain-following radar, and autonomous mission planning software. The bomber's range enables direct deployment from continental United States bases. With one aerial refueling, a B-2 can strike targets anywhere in Mexico and return without landing in theater. This eliminates diplomatic complications of staging from Mexican airspace. Mission profiles would follow established protocols. The B-2 would approach targets at high altitude using terrain masking and electronic countermeasures. As it nears release points, sophisticated computers calculate precise weapon trajectories, accounting for wind, temperature, and target movement. Weapons release occurs miles from targets, allowing the bomber to turn away before detonation. The thermobaric weapons fall silently toward targets, guided by GPS and inertial navigation systems. Cartel forces below have no indication of incoming attack. There's no engine noise, no visible contrail, no warning whatsoever. The first indication of danger is the weapon's arrival, by which point escape is impossible. The explosion that follows is catastrophic. Within the blast radius, everything dies instantly. Humans exposed to the overpressure suffer massive internal trauma. Lungs rupture, eardrums burst, internal organs liquefy from the pressure differential. Those inside buildings fare no better as the pressure wave propagates through structures, collapsing walls and ceilings. Section 4. The Final Reckoning. When B-2 bombers finally deploy thermobaric weapons against cartel targets, the impact will extend far beyond immediate destruction. Intelligence gathered through years of surveillance has identified hundreds of facilities. Drug labs, storage warehouses, command centers, weapons caches, and training camps. Comprehensive targeting packages exist for each location, ready for execution. The strikes will likely occur in coordinated waves designed to prevent warning from reaching subsequent targets. Within hours, dozens of facilities across Mexico could be destroyed simultaneously, decapitating cartel leadership and eliminating critical infrastructure before any response is possible. Follow-on operations will exploit the chaos created by initial strikes. Ground forces will move against surviving cartel elements before they can reorganize. Financial assets will be frozen, communication networks will be disrupted. The goal isn't just destroying facilities, but dismantling entire organizational structures. Intelligence reports indicate cartels are frantically attempting to adapt. Some organizations are dispersing operations, breaking large production facilities into numerous small labs. Others are investing in early warning systems, purchasing commercial radar equipment, and positioning spotters near major flight paths. The most troubling adaptation involves increased presence in civilian areas using human shields to deter strikes. The psychological toll on cartel forces is becoming apparent. Captured operatives describe widespread fear among rank-and-file members who understand they're defenseless against thermobaric strikes. Morale is deteriorating as workers realize their fortified compounds offer no protection. Recruitment is reportedly more difficult. The broader strategic message targets not just cartels, but any criminal organization considering challenging United States interests. The willingness to deploy overwhelming military force, including thermobaric weapons, demonstrates resolve that transcends traditional law enforcement. Long-term effectiveness remains uncertain. Cartels have proven remarkably resilient throughout decades of counter-narcotics operations. Destroying current facilities and killing current leaders may simply create opportunities for new organizations to emerge. Without addressing root causes, including demand for drugs and economic conditions in Mexico, military action alone may prove insufficient. Call to action. The United States military stands ready to unleash thermobaric vacuum bombs on cartel strongholds using B-2 stealth bombers that cartels cannot detect or defend against. These weapons create blast waves so powerful they collapse fortified bunkers and pressure differentials that rupture human organs from the inside. The question is, will overwhelming military force finally break the cartels? Or will this escalation simply create new violence across Mexico? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more coverage of military operations reshaping the drug war, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching.